If you don't have one, you want one. If you have one, you want to get rid of it. Jake Ryan dropped that wisdom about popularity in 16 Candles, and somehow, one line from a teen movie in 1984 captured every high schooler's entire existence. This wasn't just another coming-of-age comedy. This was the movie that turned Molly Ringwald into the voice of a generation, made Michael Schofling every girl's dream, and proved John Hughes understood teenage misery better than actual teenagers. It's the film where an entire family forgets a birthday, a geek trades underwear like cryptocurrency, and a red Porsche became the ultimate romantic gesture. Today we're diving into 15 weird facts about the movie that launched Hughes' directorial career and made us all believe our families were just as dysfunctional as the Bakers. Now, before we jump in, be sure to like and subscribe because it really does help this channel. Let's kick off with number 15. Number 15. John Hughes wrote the entire script over one 4th of July weekend to save his career. Most screenwriters take months to craft a feature film. John Hughes wrote 16 Candles in less than a week during the 1983 4th of July weekend. According to the American Film Institute, Hughes had already written The Breakfast Club, and A&M Films had optioned it on the condition he finish it for $1 million. But when that production went into limbo and Hughes's other scripts were released in 1982 and 1983, he got nervous. He worried The Breakfast Club, a sparse chamber piece about 5 kids in detention, wouldn't have commercial appeal for teenage audiences. So over the holiday weekend, he isolated himself and cranked out an action-based teen comedy. The script he turned in became 16 Candles, virtually unchanged from first draft to screen. Universal read it and immediately decided it was more commercially viable than The Breakfast Club, so they greenlit it as Hughes' directorial debut instead. Here's the ironic twist. Hughes wrote 16 Candles as a backup plan because he was afraid The Breakfast Club wouldn't work. Both movies became iconic. The safety net script he wrote in a weekend to save his career launched him as the king of teen movies, and the movie he was afraid to make became one of the most analyzed high school films ever made. And here's the kicker. According to multiple sources, Hughes was known for writing while chain-smoking and drinking massive amounts of coffee. The man wrote one of the most beloved teen comedies of all time in a caffeine-fueled holiday weekend sprint. Sometimes your panic project becomes your masterpiece. Number 14. Molly Ringwald and John Hughes shared the exact same birthday, 18 years apart. This sounds like something a studio publicist made up, but it's completely real. Molly Ringwald was born on February 18th, 1968. John Hughes was born on February 18th, 1950. According to Ringwald in a 2016 People interview, Hughes told her he found her headshot while looking through photos of young actors and decided to write a movie around the character he imagined that girl to be. That movie became 16 Candles. When filming started, Ringwald was 15, having just finished 9th grade. Hughes was 33, exactly 18 years older to the day. Ringwald later said Hughes was very present on set and really related to the young cast, and she felt like he was most comfortable talking to them rather than the adult crew members. The shared birthday became a running connection between them throughout their collaborations on 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Pretty in Pink. And here's the genuinely touching part. In 2022, Ringwald shared on Instagram that her own mother forgot her birthday, texting her happy birthday only after Ringwald prompted her. Ringwald captioned it, "Life imitates art," and reflected on the birthday she shared with Hughes, who had passed away in 2009. The cosmic coincidence of their shared birthday became a real bond, and decades later, Ringwald still marks February 18th by thinking about the director who built an entire movie around a forgotten birthday. Number 13. The movie got an R rating, and Hughes had to fight to get it down to P for teenage audiences. When 16 Candles was submitted to the MPAA in early 1984, it came back with an R rating. For a movie specifically made for teenage audiences, that was a disaster. According to the American Film Institute and multiple sources, Hughes successfully lobbied and appealed the rating, and on February 16, 1984, the film won its appeal and was released with a PG rating. Here's the wild part. The PG-13 rating didn't exist yet. It wasn't introduced until a few months after 16 Candles hit theaters. So the ratings board had only two choices, PG or R. There was no middle ground. A movie with content that would never fly under PG ratings now somehow squeezed into that rating because the alternative would have kept teenagers out of theaters. The MPAA apparently believed that something so obviously aimed at teens deserved to be accessible to teens, even if it pushed every boundary of what PG meant. And here's the beautiful irony. If you watch 16 Candles today, modern theaters suggest PG-13, because by modern standards, there's no way it would get PG. According to Quipster movie reviews, it would be a definite PG-13 today. Hughes got away with content that would never fly under PG ratings now, and he did it right before the rules changed forever. The movie that barely escaped an R rating slipped through a loophole that closed right after it. Talk about perfect timing. Number 12, Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald went from hating each other to dating. When Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall first met on set, they did not get along. According to Fast Rewind sources, John Hughes panicked because his entire movie depended on their chemistry. So Hughes took them to a music store where they discovered they both loved the same music. Problem solved, except not really. According to Hall in a 2020 Page 6 interview, even after they became friends, he developed a massive crush on Ringwald during filming, and she wasn't interested. Hall admitted, "Ringwald didn't have the time of day for me when we made 16 Candles. I was annoyed with her." So the entire movie, Hall played a geek desperately chasing a girl who didn't notice him, which required zero acting, because that's exactly what was happening off camera. The friendship was real. The attraction was one-sided. Then after filming The Breakfast Club a year later, something shifted. Hall and Ringwald started dating. Hall called it puppy love and said, "It kind of hit me by surprise when we had our little thing there, but it was fun." Ringwald confirmed it in the 2010 book, You Couldn't Ignore Me If You Tried. So, the progression, mutual hatred, forced record store bonding, friendship, unrequited crush, then actual romance a year later. Hughes turned enemies into friends with a shopping trip. Hall turned friendship into hopeless longing, and then Ringwald changed her mind after another movie. The geek got the girl eventually. He just had to survive hatred, rejection, and an entire film franchise first. Number 11. The gym where they filmed the school dance had no air conditioning. The school dance scene was shot at Niles East High School in Skokie, Illinois, and the gym didn't have air conditioning. According to multiple cast and crew interviews, the production couldn't afford to bring in cooling equipment, so everyone filming in July 1983 just roasted. Temperatures inside the gym exceeded 100 degrees during shooting. Haviland Morris, who played Caroline, told interviewers she had to change her dress between takes because she was sweating through it. The extras playing students at the dance were visibly wilting. The crew was miserable. And here's the extra painful detail. Samantha's bedroom set was also built inside that same high school gymnasium, so those scenes were equally scorching. At least Ringwald got to decorate her character's room with items from her own bedroom, so she was sweating in familiar surroundings. The ironic part? If you watch the dance scene, everyone looks appropriately uncomfortable and awkward, which is exactly what high school dances feel like. The misery was a method acting by necessity. The cast didn't have to pretend to be uncomfortable teenagers at a school dance. They were genuinely uncomfortable people trapped in a building that felt like a convection oven. Sometimes brutal filming conditions create authentic performances, even if everyone involved would have preferred basic climate control and human comfort. Number 10, Michael Scheffling beat out Viggo Mortensen for the role of Jake Ryan. When Michael Scheffling walked into auditions for 16 Candles, he was a 23-year-old model and aspiring actor who'd trained at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute, but had never been in a feature film. According to Molly Ringwald, in an Access Hollywood interview, another actor who auditioned was Viggo Mortensen, who would later become famous for Lord of the Rings. Ringwald admitted that when Mortensen auditioned, he made me weak in the knees. He really did. She wanted Mortensen to get the part, but John Hughes cast Scheffling instead, choosing him more for his looks than his acting ability. Scheffling had the exact aesthetic Hughes wanted: tall, handsome, and naturally awkward, in a way that read as authenticity rather than inexperience. And here's the twist that makes this story perfect. Viggo Mortensen went on to have a legendary film career, earning Oscar nominations and international acclaim. Meanwhile, Michael Scheffling made about a dozen movies over 7 years, then quit acting entirely in 1991 to become a furniture maker in Pennsylvania. He now runs a woodworking business and has turned down every interview request and reunion opportunity for more than 30 years. The guy who beat out Viggo Mortensen for the most iconic teen heartthrob role of the 80s walked away from Hollywood completely and never looked back. And Ringwald, who initially wanted someone else, she lost touch with shuffling entirely. Sometimes the person who seems like the wrong choice becomes the right choice. Number 9. Haviland Morris wore a wig for the hair-cutting scene. There's a widely believed piece of 16 Candles trivia that Haviland Morris, who played Caroline, is a natural redhead and had to wear a blonde wig because John Hughes only wanted one redhead in the movie. That's completely false. According to Morris herself in multiple interviews, including one with Rediscover the 80s, her hair was naturally the color it appears at the beginning of the film. She wore a wig later in the movie specifically so they could cut it when Caroline gets her hair stuck in the door. The wig matched her real hair color. Morris said, "In the beginning of the movie, that's all my real hair. As you get to the scenes right before it got cut, it's a wig, but we're hoping you're not going to notice it isn't the same as earlier in the movie. When I look at it, I think the hair looks more like a wig than the wig did." The entire redhead controversy is a myth that somehow became an accepted fact. The wig wasn't to change her hair color, it was purely practical, so they could destroy her hair without actually destroying her hair. If you pay close attention to the continuity in the final scenes, you can spot where the chunk of hair is missing from the wig. It became a fun piece of movie trivia to watch for. Morris made Caroline one of the most memorable characters in the film, and decades later, people still get the basic facts about her hair wrong. Sometimes the myths are more entertaining than the truth, and sometimes the truth is just about protecting an actress from a bad haircut. Number 8. Joan and John Cusack were originally cast in major roles in The Breakfast Club. The Cusack siblings were headed for much bigger roles. According to Mental Floss and other sources, John Cusack was initially cast as Bender in The Breakfast Club, the role that eventually went to Judd Nelson, and Joan Cusack was set to play Allison, the role Ali Sheedy made famous. But Universal Studios thought Hughes's other finished screenplay, 16 Candles, was more commercial and should be made first. The Breakfast Club got pushed and the Cusacks got reassigned to 16 Candles in much smaller parts. John Cusack played Bryce, one of Farmer Ted's sidekick geeks, and Joan Cusack played Geek Girl Number 1, the girl in the neck brace. They barely have any lines. 16 Candles became the second of what's now 10 films the Cusack siblings have appeared in together. And here's the Hollywood irony that makes this story delicious. John Cusack went on to become a massive star in his own right. Say Anything, High Fidelity, and Being John Malkovich. Joan Cusack earned Oscar nominations and became one of the most reliable character actresses in Hollywood. They didn't need the big Breakfast Club roles to launch their careers. And when The Breakfast Club did get made a year later with Judd Nelson and Ali Sheedy, it became iconic without them. Everyone landed where they were supposed to land. The siblings who got bumped down to bit parts ended up doing just fine. Sometimes losing the big role is the best thing that can happen because it frees you up for better opportunities later. Number 7. Molly Ringwald stole the dress she wore to the school dance, and wardrobe had to find a replacement. The pink dress Samantha Baker wears to the school dance became one of the iconic looks of the movie. But according to multiple sources including Fame 10, that dress wasn't originally meant for Molly Ringwald at all. It was supposed to be worn by Leanne Curtis, who played Samantha's friend Randy. Ringwald saw the dress, loved it, and asked if she could wear it instead. And because Ringwald was considered John Hughes's muse and basically got whatever she wanted on set, Hughes said yes. The wardrobe department had to run around at the last minute, finding a completely new outfit for Randy's character to wear to the dance. Here's what makes this story even better. Ringwald didn't just steal one costume piece. According to her own interviews with the Denver Post, she picked out all of Samantha's clothes herself. She went to stores on Melrose Avenue with the costume designer and chose outfits based on her own personal style, which was heavily influenced by ska music at the time. The hats, the layered tops, the quirky patterns, all Ringwald's choices. Hughes gave a 15-year-old girl complete control over her character's wardrobe, and she used that power to take dresses meant for other actors. The result was a character who felt authentic, because she was literally wearing what a real teenage girl wanted to wear. And that pink dress she commandeered, it became one of the most recognizable costumes in 80s teen movies. Number 6. John Hughes created the role of Farmer Ted specifically for Anthony Michael Hall. Anthony Michael Hall wasn't just cast in 16 Candles. The entire character of Farmer Ted was written specifically for him. According to sources, John Hughes was so impressed by Hall's performance as Rusty Griswold in National Lampoon's Vacation that he created the geek role with Hall in mind before the actor even auditioned. Hall was only 14 years old when he played Rusty, and Hughes saw something in his timing and awkward energy that he knew would be perfect for a lovable loser character. So, when Hughes sat down to write 16 Candles, he built Farmer Ted around Hall's specific strengths: the nervous energy, the motor-mouth delivery, the ability to be simultaneously annoying and endearing. Here's where this gets interesting. Hall became so associated with the geek archetype that Hughes cast him as essentially the teen version of himself across 4 films: Vacation, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Weird Science. According to the Saturday Evening Post, Hughes found an alter ego in Hall, and for a few years, if Hughes wrote a movie with an awkward teenage boy, that boy was played by Anthony Michael Hall. The role that launched Hall's career was literally designed around him before he even knew it existed. And the kicker? Hall spent years trying to break away from that geek typecasting, eventually building muscle and taking tough guy roles to escape the character Hughes built for him. Sometimes being someone's muse means being trapped in the box they created, even when that box made you famous. Number 5, the final birthday cake was made of cardboard, not actual cake. In the iconic final scene where Jake Ryan presents Samantha with a birthday cake complete with 16 lit candles, that cake isn't real. According to multiple sources, including Hollywood.com, the birthday cake was made of cardboard. It had to hold up under hot lights for multiple takes, and a real cake would have melted, sagged, or otherwise fallen apart during filming. So the prop department built a convincing fake that could survive the production process. The candles were real, obviously, because you can see them burning, but the cake itself was inedible. Here's the beautiful irony. That cardboard cake became one of the most iconic images from the film. It represents everything the movie is about: the perfect birthday Samantha never got, the romantic gesture from the dream guy, the happy ending where someone finally remembers her special day. And it's completely fake. The symbol of the perfect birthday moment was a prop that couldn't be eaten even if someone wanted to try. And nobody cared. The scene works because Molly Ringwald and Michael Schofling sold the emotion, not because the cake was genuine. You can manufacture a perfect moment with cardboard and acting as long as the feelings are real. Number 4, Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald initially couldn't stand each other. According to Fast Rewind's behind-the-scenes sources, when Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall first met on the set of 16 Candles, they did not get along at all. The chemistry wasn't there, the energy was off, and John Hughes got worried because his entire movie depended on their dynamic working. So Hughes decided to intervene. He took both of them to a music store, and they discovered they both loved the same music. That shared interest broke the ice, and suddenly they got along great. Hughes figured out that these two teenagers just needed common ground, and once they found it, the on-screen chemistry clicked into place. Here's what makes this story even better. The music bonding session worked so well that not only did they become friends on set, but as we covered earlier, Hall developed a massive crush on Ringwald during filming, and they eventually dated after The Breakfast Club. So Hughes's intervention didn't just save the movie's chemistry, it created a real friendship that turned into romance, and then into a lasting connection that survived 40 years. And all because a director recognized that sometimes actors just need to discover they like the same bands. Hughes didn't just direct movies, he directed relationships. Number 3, Michael Schofling quit acting in 1991 and now makes handcrafted furniture in Pennsylvania. After 16 Candles made Michael Schofling famous as Jake Ryan, he appeared in about a dozen films over the next 7 years, including Vision Quest, Mermaids with Cher, and Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. Then in 1991, at age 31, he walked away from Hollywood entirely. According to his wife Valerie Robinson in a 2014 People interview, Schofling is very reclusive and private and simply values his privacy. He moved back to his native Pennsylvania, opened a handcrafted furniture and woodworking shop in Newfoundland, and has never given an interview about his acting career since retiring. In 2010, a blogger claimed to have met Schofling at his furniture store and asked why he quit acting. Schofling reportedly said roles were getting harder to find, and he needed to support his family, so he turned to furniture making instead. He was quoted as saying, Actors spend most of their time out of work, so I spend more time making furniture. The thing about furniture that's much better than acting is that it's just me. There's no director, no script. Here's the part that makes this story legendary. Scheffling has turned down every reunion attempt, every anniversary interview, every convention appearance. When his daughter Scarlett became a model and actress, posting childhood photos with him on Instagram, it briefly put him back in the spotlight, but Scheffling himself remained silent. The guy who defined the ultimate 80s romantic hero has spent more than 30 years actively avoiding any acknowledgement that Jake Ryan existed. And ironically, that makes him more mythical. He's the heartthrob who disappeared. The ultimate where are they now mystery. By refusing to cash in on nostalgia, he's become more iconic than if he'd done every reunion and interview. Number 2. The movie's costume designer begged Molly Ringwald not to wear that tilted hat. You know that hat Molly Ringwald wears tilted back in the opening scenes? According to IMDb trivia, the movie's costume designer begged her not to wear it. The designer thought it looked wrong, didn't fit the character, and would date the film. Ringwald, all of 15 years old, looked at this professional and said no. She insisted on wearing the hat exactly how she wanted, and John Hughes, who'd already given Ringwald control over Samantha's wardrobe, backed her up. So the hat stayed, tilted back, looking exactly how the costume designer said it shouldn't look. Here's where this gets perfect. After the movie was released, teenage girls across America started wearing their hats tilted back exactly like that. It became a trend, a signature look that defined mid-80s teen style. The hat, the professional said, would look dated became timeless because it captured something authentic about how actual teenagers wore their clothes. Ringwald was pulling from her own style, influenced by ska music and Melrose Avenue shops. She wasn't trying to create a trend, she was just being herself. The costume designer had years of training and experience. The 15-year-old actress had instinct. An instinct won so hard it influenced fashion nationwide. Number 1, Molly Ringwald was actually 15 years old, playing a 16-year-old. Hollywood loves casting adults to play teenagers, but 16 Candles went the other direction. Molly Ringwald was genuinely 15 when she played newly 16-year-old Samantha Baker. According to Ringwald's own accounts and confirmed by the Saturday Evening Post, Hughes found her headshot, decided to write a movie about the girl he imagined her to be, and filmed it in the Chicago suburbs during the summer, right after Ringwald completed 9th grade. She wasn't a 25-year-old playing down. She was an actual high school student playing a high school student, and here's why that matters. The awkwardness in Ringwald's performance isn't acting, it's real teenage awkwardness. The way she moves, the way she talks, the insecurity and confusion. That's a 15-year-old being 15. Hughes didn't want polish, he wanted authenticity, and casting an actual teenager to play a teenager gave the movie an emotional honesty that most teen films fake. The irony? Michael Scheffling, who played Jake Ryan, was 23 during filming. So the movie's central romance was between a 15-year-old girl and a 23-year-old man pretending to be an 18-year-old high school senior. That age gap would raise eyebrows today. But in 1984, nobody blinked. Hughes got the authentic teenage performance he wanted from Ringwald, and he got the dreamboat aesthetics he needed from Scheffling, even if the math was deeply weird. Sometimes the magic of movies requires ignoring the uncomfortable reality behind the camera. And sometimes the most authentic performance comes from casting someone who's actually living what they're portraying. And there you have it. 15 weird facts about the movie that turned forgotten birthdays into a cultural moment and proved John Hughes understood teenage misery better than anyone. From weekend writing sprints to record store bonding sessions, from cardboard cakes to furniture-making heartthrobs, 16 Candles was chaos from start to finish. Which facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into 1984, smash that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic trips through the movies that defined the 80s. Thanks for watching, and until next time.